So it is now officially fall. It was unofficially fall as soon as it dropped under 75 and Lauren started wearing sweaters, so fuck the date. But anyway, it is now officially, to normal people, fall, and I'm really excited because I just get in my whole little comfort zone in fall and just, I mean, I do it anyway. I read a lot of paranormal stuff, but fall, especially like the first TBR fall, and it's about to be October, so that means it's like really I can just like get away with like nothing but like werewolf stuff if I want to. Yes. Alright, so what I am doing now, what are we doing? This is my October TBR. That was the point of that little that little rant, binge, whatever. That was the point of that little thing. It's fall and it's October and it's time for Lauren's October TBR. Alright, so right on top I have Dragonsworn, which is book 26 or 27 in the Dark Hunter verse. This is the last novel before Stygian, whatever. I gotta figure out how to say that. Anywho, this is the last novel before it, the one that just was released, I believe August 28th, and I really want it. And I didn't, like, I saw it in the bookstore yesterday and I did not know how fucking big it is. And I'm like, let me catch up and then we'll get this. Like, it's not quite as big as Ash's book, Stygian, but it's close. So I also need to read Styx, but I've already skipped that, so I'm not really tripping about it. But this one is the last one before that, so I'm gonna read this one, and I'm also going to read Stygian. Now, that one I don't have yet, but I'll get it in October. It's not October yet, like we'll get there. We'll get there. Now, this one, which dragon is this one about? We're gonna pretend the one before this, Dragon Mark, that I read last month for Booktubeathon, didn't happen because it really didn't. It was like a novella, and then the middle was jam-packed full of Dragon Bane, and Son of No One, so that was a big pain in the tip. Anyway, so that one didn't happen. We are picking up after the book that wasn't, with Dragonsworn. This one is about yet another cursed dragon named Falcon and his hatred for humanity, except for Greek humans, and his future soon-to-be love interest Medea, who is the granddaughter of the Greek god Apollo. Now, if you have not read any book before this, then in the Dark Hunter verse, it will just be spoilers left, right, up, down, diagonal. You just can't avoid them. So that is all I will tell you about that. And if you have not read the Dark Hunter books yet, what are you doing? Like, I know there's a lot of them, but they're good. I've never stuck with a series through damn near 30 books before, ever, except for this one. Then I have A Certain Wolfish Charm by Lydia Dare. This is a historical werewolf romance novel. And this one, this is Lydia Dare's debut trilogy, in which what it says on the back, Regency England has gone to the wolves. He gets crankier and crankier as the moon gets full. The rules of society can be beastly, especially when you're a werewolf, and it's that irritating time of the month. Simon Westfield, the Duke of Blackmore, is rich, powerful, and sinfully handsome, and has spent his entire life creating scandal and mayhem. It doesn't help his wolfish temper at all that Miss Lily Rutledge seems not the least bit afraid of him, and in fact, maybe as untamable as she is. When Lily's beloved nephew's behavior becomes inexplicably wild, she turns to Simon, the boy's cousin and guardian. And there's a sticker right in the middle of the, hold on, why didn't I? It shows you I didn't, like, when I tell y'all I really don't pay attention to summaries until I have to tell y'all about a book I want to read. I don't pay that much attention when I get like the barest gist. I'm like, yeah, it sounds like a thing I would like. And I decide off that. When Lily's beloved nephew's behavior becomes inexplicably wild, she turns to Simon, the boy's cousin and guardian, for help. But Simon's idea of assistance is far different than hers, and Lily finds herself ensconced in his house and engaged to the rogue. They both may have bitten off more than they can chew when each begins to discover the other's darkest secret. I mean, it's historical romance and it's paranormal romance, like, mashed together. Yeah. Then there is something with another fuck ton of stickers on it. One moment. Changeless, book 2 in the Parasol Protectorate series. The first one being Soulless, which I read, I don't know, I read it in August for whatever reason. I might have read it in BookTube Decline. Who the hell knows? I loved it. I really enjoyed it. And before I knew I was going to like it, but before I'd even read this one, I started picking up the others, and this is one of the ones I got in my $20 fill-a-bag half-price book outlet book haul doojobby. But the first one, the series is set in Regency London, Victorian London, except the paranormal is a thing. It's a thing that everyone is aware of, and it's got a little steampunk thrown in. So Alex Terabody, who is the main character in these, see, said lady on the cover, is soulless. So instead of, in this world, being paranormal means that you had an abundance of soul. You had an overabundance of soul, like creativity, art, like to just like heavily soul-driven character traits, I suppose you'd call them. That is what makes you predisposed to, you know, be able to become paranormal, so should something happen or you so choose to follow that. Alex is on the opposite end of the spectrum. She has no soul whatsoever, but that does give her the ability to negate some of their wolfish or vampiric traits, we'll say. Alex is also half Italian, and the half Italian part of her, for some reason in this particular world, is just as scandalous as the soulless part. She's darker skinned than a lot of the ton. She also has a nose that's bigger than that of her family, and she's kind of a spinster, which basically has given her the right to do and say whatever the fuck she wants, and she does just that. I really, really like this. I especially like the tone, like the dry wit of the main character through the narrative. And it's my kind of humor. It's one of the things I love about historical romances that are done well, when you don't need to put a lot of like modern colloquialisms in it and stuff to still make it funny. You just kind of have to be a little bit like maybe up on the vocabulary, but it's not even the vocabulary. You just have to like pay attention to what you're reading, because there are a lot of like snarky and witty comebacks, and they just kind of have the veil of polite society over top of them. So it's like, I'm calling you an asshole without calling you an asshole, because calling you an asshole would be rude. And then on top of that, I'm doing it in like 1800s London English. Good shit. And this is the second book which I will be reading, and I am here for it. I won't tell you specifically what the second one is about, because the summary would be a little spoilery for this one considering the people it involves, so read them. Also, if you are a member or would like to join the Wicked Spirits book club, in which we read paranormal and urban fantasy books, Soulless is in the running to be the October book pick. So if you head over to the Wicked Spirits book club page, which I will link down below, there is a poll where you can decide between this and 3 other books for what the October book will be. And at any rate, there are descriptions of the book linked down on the page where the poll is, and I will link the book club's page down below in the description box. Lord haveth mercy. Then I was like really like last minute and decided to go to the Victoria Schwab / V.E. Schwab, whichever name you know her by, book signing yesterday in Seattle, and I was really, really stoked and got myself a signed copy of Vengeful, and this one is personalized and it's really cool. She also signed my UK paperback Darker Shade of Magic series, as well as the special edition UK hardcover Darker Shade of Magic book. And this one I just am missing Vicious, but the point of this was to say that this month I will be reading Vicious and Vengeful by V.E. Schwab. So Vicious being the first one, which was done 5 years ago. Now the original cover looks like this. This was the one released in 2013. Because it came out on the 5-year anniversary, Vengeful did, the new cover was released to match, and it looks like this. And I want it. And they didn't have it available at the signing. They just had the paperback one, which is why I only got this one, because if I got this one on hardcover, I need to have the other one. Yes, I am one of those people. You know this by me by now. Anyway, Vengeful is this story about 2 college roommates who kind of created supernatural abilities, or the ability to obtain supernatural abilities, but then they become enemies, like arch enemies. So I think they either both become supervillains, or one becomes a good guy and one becomes a supervillain. I don't know, I just know there's really cool supervillains in it. It's kind of like a backstory, so to speak. And I really, really want to read it. And I heard it's amazing. And it's really for people who love, like, comic books and the whole superhero thing, which I do. Like, I have shelves of just superhero stuff. And up here, you can't see on the very top of my bookshelf, there's like 100 and some odd Funko Pops. And about 80 of them are superheroes. I mean, so I'm really excited. It sounds like my kind of book. I don't know why it really wasn't fully on my radar before, but I also didn't really know what it was about. I think I heard a lot about Our Savage Song and a Dark Duet, or This Savage Song and a Dark Duet, but not Vicious and Vengeful. But I went, now I'm glad I did. Vengeful, I think, has more badass female characters in it, and it kind of creates a bigger group. It has the same characters, but that main character from Vicious shares a spotlight with other, even more awesome, badass characters from Vengeful. And really, I just really want to read this one. It's really hard not to read this one without reading Vicious first, because the things that I heard about this when I went to the author event was just fucking incredible, and I can't wait to read it. This one has like this one particular character who's like an ex-mob wife and also has superpowers. All kind of like cool superheroes. It's like if you watch the show Heroes when it came out, which I did until it got to be a little crazy towards the end there. It's like that, but darker and more badass and less like, you know, save the children or save the world. It's like, say, mob wife type. I mean, she's not the only character, but that's the one that stuck with me because I like mafia stories, so whatever. Anyway, I'll be reading both of these this month, and I can't wait. Side note, if anybody wants to read Vicious with me, please let me know, because this would be a fucking awesome book to buddy read. Just saying, it would. Then there is The Dark Days Club by Allison Goodman. This one kind of gave me a little bit of Soulless crossed with Penny Dreadful, the TV show kind of a feel. This one, the main character is an 18-year-old in, I was going to say prehistoric London, Jesus Christ. An 18-year-old in Regency London who is supposed to be focusing on her kind of like coming out into society, her debut, so to speak, and then instead she gets poured into this mystery and pulled into the dark world of the supernatural. So I've had this one for a while, and I'm really interested to get to it, and it seemed like a good October read. Like, so I think this one might be a little less romantic, a little more creepy side, if I understand correctly. I could be totally wrong, but like I said, I don't want to know too much about it. But also, this book has like, now I can't think of the name of the print, but it's got like in the background, these, but they're embossed, shiny in the background of the black mat, and yes, I need this book. So, really excited to get into that. It has been on my radar for quite a while now. And then lastly, I have an announcement. Don't ask me, I don't fucking know. So for the month of October, this will start the Samantha Shannon Readalong. In October, we will be reading the Bone Season, and I invite everyone to come and read along with me. In November, we will be reading the Mime Order, and then in December, we will be reading Song Rising. Is that what it's called? Yeah, I got them right. Alright, so all that's because Priority of the Orange Tree is coming out in February. That will give us kind of like October, November, December to read her writing, and then January to get our lives together and fix our emotions, because I'm pretty sure she's going to break them. And then February, if y'all would like to join me in reading Priority of the Orange Tree, I am super stoked to be reading that. No, that's a totally different series. This one's more urban fantasy. That one's going to be like straight out, just flat out fantasy, if I'm right about that. But I just am in the mood to read some Samantha Shannon, and waiting for Priority of the Orange Tree is killing me, and this one was really good, so I'm rereading it so I get all my details together. And then November we'll read the next one, and December we'll read the next one, part of Wicked Spirits Book Club, BT Dubs, and then come February, Priority of the Orange Tree, and we have a whole month of January to get our lives together. Now, the Bone Season, I guess you would like to know about that, is set in 2059, so urban fantasy more setting. Paige is kind of this, she's working for someone in the criminal underworld of London. Her job is to scout information by breaking into people's minds. For Paige is a dream walker, a rare kind of clairvoyant, and under sign of law she commits treason by simply breathing. It's raining the day her life's changed forever. Attacked, kidnapped, and drugged, she's transported to Oxford, a city kept secret for 200 years, governed by an otherworldly race called Readalong, who seek to control clairvoyants for their own purposes. Paige is assigned to the care of Warden, a powerful Readalong. He is her captor, her trainer, her natural enemy, but if she wants to regain her freedom, she will have to get close to him to learn something of his mind and his own mysterious motives. Bone Season introduces a compelling heroine, a young woman discovering her powers in a world where everything has been taken from her. It also introduces an extraordinary young writer with huge ambition. Yes, yes, yes. Also agreed. So I have read this. It's really good, but like I said, it's one you really need to pay attention to. So if you're a person who forgets small details in books shortly after you read them because you read too much, like me, I recommend reading this one again before going on to the next one, so on and so forth. Again, because I read this, I loved it. I listened to the audiobook. The narrator for the audiobook is fucking fantastic. So if you would prefer to listen to an audible, really good audiobook. I actually have not physically read this. I listened to the whole thing, an audiobook, on one car trip. I think it's when my grandmother was sick and I went to go visit her, and it's really good. Listen to it without pause, like the whole drive. Finish the entire book. Now, also, there is a hate to love romance trope. It also has the captor / captive combined with the hate to love romance trope. So if that is not necessarily a thing, be warned about that. But I love any kind of hate to love romance trope, captor / captive included, as long as it's not creepily done. So I really like this book. And if I am correct, the way it ended blew my fucking mind, and I can't wait to reread it, delve back into it. This is one of the books that, like, I didn't read the next one immediately on purpose because I just kind of wanted to savor the detail. This is a book that will kind of, if you're not careful, put your ass in a reading slump. You'll be book hungover like a mofo. But I now have the second one and the third one, so I can read all of them. And it just shit. So good. So that read along starts this month. Are you ready? Please join me. I cannot wait. I think I might create a Voxer group for this, since everybody said they wanted a Goodreads group for book club and nobody ever talks in the Goodreads group on book club. So maybe I need to do something about that a little differently or whatever, but we'll try Voxer this time around maybe and see how it works, or we'll do both. So super stoked to read this. It is amazing. I love it because it gives me my, like, fantasy, but my urban fantasy setting, and I still got a little bit more romance in there too. Yes, now it's not romance heavy, but there's romance in there, so just be aware. Can't wait. And those are all the books I will be reading in the month of October. So don't forget, again, you have until October 2nd to go on Goodreads and vote for the book of the month that goes along with this for Wicked Spirits Book Club in the month of October. Also, those of you who are joining Wicked Spirits Book Club, don't forget, like, come check back, come chat in the groups. Like, I'll ask a question, but I don't want to just keep posting stuff because then it feels like I'm talking to myself because I'm a weirdo. So, like, come voice your opinions. Like, hey, this is what I felt about this book here. This is what I felt about blah, blah, blah. I hate this character. This person's a dickhead. Like, join the chats. It's fun. So I think that's finally it. If you like this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. Give it a thumbs up. And subscribe. I try to post videos 3 times a week, but I'm still kind of settling into my new place, so sometimes that doesn't happen. I know life happens. But you can find me on Instagram and Twitter at TheNovelUsh. You can find me on Goodreads at goodreads.com/TheNovelUsh. You can also find under my profile Wicked Spirits Book Club, which is a paranormal romance and urban fantasy book club, and I will link it down in the description box as well. And I will see you guys in the next video.